market keeps going up, right? It's up 239 today on the triple Qs, 63 points on the S&P. So let's start with the typical triple Qs. Give me 1 second. And okay. So what do we do? Let's go through the usual suspects, triple Qs, right here. This is the daily chart. So yesterday, market took a dump, and today it's coming right back. The uptrend is still intact. Here's the uptrend. Short-term uptrend, medium-term uptrend. I'm highlighting the uptrends. You guys need to be drawing these lines on your own now, because if you bought the books that I recommended on technical analysis with John Murphy, you should be comfortably drawing these lines. It's a long-term uptrend. The market's above its 20-day EMA, exponential moving average, 50-day EMA, not even close, and 200-day EMA, which is way far away from where it's at. So trend is still intact. We had a swoon yesterday after the CPI report. A little profit taking came in, but it seems like that's getting negated completely. I talked about bearish divergences. I'm circling it. There is definitely bearish divergences taking place, but those take a while to, if you're reading your technical analysis books, you guys would know what that means. I talked about it last week. If you missed it, go watch the power hour from last week. So this is the triple Qs. Triple Qs, NASDAQ 100. And let's look at the S&P 500. Same thing. Uptrend is intact. I think the market's making a new high today, completely negating what it did yesterday, above its 20-day EMA, above its 50-day EMA. Uptrend is intact, short and medium and long term, above its 200-day EMA. Look, man, go with the trend. Nothing wrong with the picture here. Let's look at Apple. I mean, what else is there? There is definitely bearish divergence. Actually, I will be shorting Apple pretty soon. I think there will be at least a 15%, 10-15% pullback in an uptrend. Again, in an uptrend. This is not for you guys to do. You have to be really nimble to do that. Everybody's, okay. So I'm going to talk about two stocks that I talked. If you guys missed my power hours, this is the trades you're missing. Okay. I talked about Tesla quite a bit on the show for weeks now, right? And forget this last piece that took place. So I'm circling right here. I said stock is going sideways. You guys can go check the power hour because it's all public record now. I can't take any of that back. And I said there is a bull flag that's being established. If the stock breaks out about 185, 190, you guys need to be on it. And forget the news, forget the catalyst, forget any of that stuff, okay? And I told you guys I bought the September $250 calls. I had bought them at $5. I sold them anywhere between $28 and $30 each. Think about it. And stock absolutely ripped. It broke its long-term downtrend. It absolutely ripped. Yesterday, there was some news that they said, well, supposedly all this move came from the catalyst of Elon Musk announcing the robotaxi August 8th. Well, he said, no, now it's going to be October. Okay, that's expected, right? But what has happened is that if you did the trade, you did the trade. You're good. You made your money already. You shouldn't be even in it yesterday. And today it's kind of wiping out because yesterday went down about close to 8% after that news. But then it's coming back a little bit now. On any pullback to 225 to 230, the Tesla is a buy. Technically, now we're just talking technicals. And I've been talking about Tesla for 6 weeks now. And I said, patience, 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 patience. But when it broke out, you guys should have been on it. If you've been following me, you guys should have been on it and made a ton of money. The next one was AMD. Again, you can go back to the previous power hours. I've been talking about AMD also as long as I've probably been talking about Tesla. These are the setups that I really, really love. Stock is going sideways. When it curls up, when it breaks out, you have to be on it. And I had my resistance lines drawn already. And there was one here at 166. Again, go back to the previous power hours, go to the last half hour of the shows, and you guys will see what I'm talking about. And I had my support lines drawn. I'm highlighting it. I said when AMD moves, you need to get on it, and I traded the stock. I traded options on it, and I'm still in it. So hopefully you guys are going to benefit from it. Here's NVIDIA. NVIDIA is showing me a little bit of a different picture. It's actually kind of acting weak in a really, really strong market. So here's NVIDIA, right? You have a high that it made at 140. Then it pulled back all the way down to 116, right? Then it kind of went back to 135. Yesterday was down about 6%, 7%. And now it's back to 131. So if you look at the RSI on the stock, again, it's in an uptrend. It's right above its 20-day EMA. It's holding it together for now. It's right above its 50-day EMA and way above its 200 EMA. So it definitely looks like I'm circling it now towards the middle of the screen, right, with my cursor. It looks like a very similar pattern here. So I wouldn't buy NVIDIA at the moment. The RSI is also throwing a whole bunch of bearish divergences, so be careful with NVIDIA. What else? Oh, yeah, the important part now. Remember I showed you guys the S&P 500, right? So we talked about this exactly last week, okay? I said if this rally is going to continue, the rally has to broaden, okay? Here's the S&P 500 from last October, November, early November, okay? I'm circling it right here. It was 410. Now it's 563. That's 150 handles or 150 S&P points. That's like over 35, 37%. While S&P was doing that, the Russell 2000, which is a much broader index, which I talked to you guys about, and the symbol I said is IWM. In fact, I just wanted to make sure if I said all these things, I rewatched my power hour from last week, just last Friday. Look what IWM has done the last 2 days, okay? So S&P 500 bottomed and Russell 2000 bottomed exactly at the same time, okay, last November. This is only like 6-7 months ago. And then they both went up. Then Russell 2000 since December, middle of December or late December of 2023, all the way to now, 7 months, 6.5, 7 months, has been going sideways, except though the last 2 days. Okay. So let me draw the lines for you guys live so you guys understand what I'm talking about. Finally, the Russell 2000 stocks versus 500 stocks are outperforming just those, the 8-legged table. Remember what I told you guys at the start of this show? If a table was S&P 500 was a table with 8 legs, it's only standing in 2 legs. Well, no longer. Russell 2000 is participating, so the rally is broadening out. And if I were to draw, that's the resistance line, but there are many. Here's a couple more. Resistance line right here. It's all breaking out, okay? So on any pullback, the Russell 2000 index, IWM, should be bought before the S&P 500. You guys can see on the upper right-hand corner, I'm circling with my cursor. You guys can see what happened here. The index was about 200. In a matter of 2 days, it's at 215. 7.5% gain in an index is massive. That means more stocks are participating. And I think this is going to be the story going forward. I think S&P 500 may go up a few more percentage points, but percentage-wise, IWM, Russell 2000 is definitely going to outperform the rest of the world. So let's go through a little bit of different charts, my watch list, and then I'll answer the questions. Give me 1 second. Let me put an order in here. One second, guys. Okay, so let's go through some charts. What I'm watching, Bitcoin, by the way, is still going sideways. I mean, when that thing breaks out, that thing is going to go to 100,000. Okay, I have no doubt now, but it's still going sideways. So you got to be patient. Remember, 3 P's: patience, position, and planning. That's why Tesla trade worked out. That's why AMD worked out. That's why IWM SPY worked out. You don't have to be a hummingbird. You don't have to be a stock jockey. You need to have patience. Okay. So one of the stocks that I'm really following close, I don't have a position in yet, is Clean Spark. So this will move with Bitcoin. Okay, again, another these setups, right? You see this how it's going sideways, right? But when Bitcoin moves, this stock moves like 4x Bitcoin, right? This thing went from 8 to 24 in a matter of weeks, couple of weeks. When Bitcoin moved from 30 to 70,000. Now Bitcoin is going sideways. Clean Spark is going sideways. This is this is a miner. This is the most efficient miner of Bitcoin on the planet, FYI. So it pulled back into support right here. I'll draw it for you guys. Right here, and resistance is up there, which is about 22. So it's a pretty big range. Right here. So it's going back and forth. So now it's into support level. I will wait until it starts moving, right? I mean, it's just going back and forth between 14 and 21. Can you make money swing trading? Yeah. Will I do it? Of course I will. But if you're not that nimble, just wait until it breaks out, because on the next breakout, this thing is going to fly. If Bitcoin goes to 100,000, I can see this thing at like $40. So another miner is called Marathon Digital. Again, when Bitcoin moves, these things move. I had a channel which it broke out of, so we can remove that channel now. It's not relevant. But then now you have a horizontal channel where the resistance and support is valid. I mean, look, how many times can it get rejected, right? And then support is right down here. So I'll draw that and I'll leave those lines. No question right here. This is support. So it's going between 17.5 and 23. When it breaks out at 23, it's going to go to 35. And if Bitcoin gets to 100,000, this thing is going to be $50. So again, you just wait. You draw your lines. You just wait. There is nothing else to do. Alibaba was one of my favorites. It still is. I did get stopped out, but I got back in again. Again, by the way, all these stocks are going to be on the community page on the YouTube channel, so you guys can go pay attention to it. A lot of people are asking me, GameStop, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. It's not doing anything. It's the dead man's EKG. So couple of new additions. One is called Upstart Holdings. UPST is the symbol. I love these setups. As you guys know, stock keeps going sideways, sideways, sideways. When it breaks out, it's going to go absolutely bonkers. It's right at the 200-day moving average. It's into resistance now. There is no news. There's no catalyst on it, but it broke out of a long-term downtrend. Here's the resistance. Here's the resistance right there. It's right at resistance at the 200-day. Above is 20 EMA and 50 EMA. You just got to wait. And here's the secondary resistance. So if it takes out 27.5-ish, and if it takes out 30 and a half, it's going to fly. But you guys need to wait, just like AMD, just like Tesla. No need to anticipate a move. Once it starts moving, there's so much room, just like it did here, right? This is the same setup, sideways, sideways. It broke out. It went from 27 to 50 in a matter of a week and a half. If I pull it back, and as you guys can see, the stock has crazy moves, right? But you have to be patient. See, it's been going down forever, just like now. It's going sideways. But when it starts moving, right? Last time it went from 15 to 75 in a matter of 2 months. So between 50 and 75 is 60 points. You should be able to make money. Trade it, swing it, position trade it, whatever the heck it is that you need to do. So, but you have to be patient. But you have to be locked and loaded. And when things take place, you act. Okay? That's how trading works. Another one I'm watching really closely is super microcomputers. This is almost a surrogate of NVIDIA. Not much is happening. I have my lines drawn. When it gives me the signal, I'll definitely will go with it. Let's look at MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is, again, total Bitcoin surrogate with Michael Saylor, largest corporate holder of Bitcoin with 227,000 Bitcoin. Well, again, you need to take advantage of these moves. When Bitcoin went from 30,000 to 70,000 or 72,000, this stock went from 500 to 2,000 in a matter of month and a half. So if you can't make money in there, then trading is not for you. Or this is not a buy and hold thing. Obviously, you need to trade this, right? And then when Bitcoin pulled back from 70,000 to 50,000, stock dropped from 2,000 to 1,000. That's 50%, right? But this thing moves like this is like a turbocharged version, or, this is definitely a much faster version of Bitcoin. Now, if you don't want to mess with that, you can go obviously buy Bitcoin ETFs, which is, by Fidelity and by BlackRock these days. But I like leverage plays in these. And, again, stock going sideways. I have my lines drawn, support in green and resistance in red. And I'll act when things start moving. Another stock I talked about last week, again, I checked it, Rivian. Okay, Rivian is like Tesla, another electric company. The day they received a $5 billion investment from Volkswagen, stock went from 12 to 16. Then what does stock do usually? They go sideways and then they break out, keep going, and look where we are. I do own the stock. I bought it about 14 and a half. It's about 18 and a half, and I will hold it. It broke a very long-term downtrend right there. Now today it's breaking that downtrend, which is impressive in itself. And on any pullback, Rivian should be bought. It's above its 200-day, above its 20, above its 50. Beautiful chart, but you need to wait. I didn't pay 12 for it. You could have said, well, Serge, you missed the low. My intent, it was 10. Now it's 18, Serge. I'm like, yeah, so what? So what? If I bought it at 10, and if I had inside information that Volkswagen was going to give him $5 billion, I would have bought at 10. But nobody has that information. But what happens is what you do after the information comes out. What you do is you be patiently waiting. A little bit of profit takers came in, and then stock will keep moving. And you need to understand that moves like this don't happen over like a day or two unless it's a pump and dump. And Rivian, billion-dollar company, is not a pump and dump, obviously. Another stock, I talked about it last week, was Zillow Group, right? If they cut the interest rates, real estate will pick up and it should be good. And you can tell already. I said, you go watch it. Again, I keep saying it, but don't say you didn't tell us and this and that. I'm giving you guys what I'm watching, what I'm trading in my big account, small account. Now that you can follow the small account, it gapped up on good news. It pulled back into the gap. These are all technical things that I'm talking about. You guys should be familiar with this. If you bought the books and read it, these are simple trades. 45 to 50 already. One of my favorite looks. One of my favorites I've been talking about for I don't know how long now. Probably a month and a half now, right? Carvana, right? Here it is, right? New all-time high. I started talking about Carvana. It was 130. Pullback, I said to 100, I will buy, which I did. Stock hit 99. Pulled back to its 50-day average. Hugged it a couple of times, and then on its way to a new high. Look at this chart, right? You have consolidation periods and new highs. Consolidation periods and new highs. This is higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. That's called an uptrend, which is this thing right here. Nothing wrong with this picture. You trade these things. You wait for the pullback to come into support. You buy the stock. You draw your lines. You're ready. You're automated. You know what you're doing already. You don't think about it. And then you put your stops. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not a guarantee, obviously. But in most cases, it will work. And here's one last one called Nphase. You guys must understand the power of technical indicators and technical analysis, okay? I had this line drawn on Nphase, which is solar panel equipment maker, for months, right? Okay, it's going inside a channel. Do you guys see this? It's going on the top end is 140. On the bottom end, I have two support lines drawn. It's at 95 to 100, in that range right here. I'm highlighting them now, right? Every time stock goes to 140, it sells off to 95 to 100, then goes back to 140, gets rejected, then goes back down to 100, then goes back to 140, gets rejected. Then as early as last week, it was down to 95 again last week. I said it's into support. For a good trade, it's valuable to look at these things. Well, it went from 95, now it's 118. That's 23 points. If you traded options, if you traded stock, that's 20%. If you traded options, it's probably like a couple of 100%. So all I'm saying is that technicals work. Okay, a lot of people say it's voodoo, and a lot of people say this. No, just have your lines drawn and trade what's given to you. If the picture is right in front of you, you don't have to be a genius to do this, right? But you have to understand the lingo. And I'll put out, let's see, what else? Yeah, that should do it. I mean, Upstart is definitely something I'm really paying close attention to. This looks a lot like AMD. This looks, it's not the same company, obviously, but these patterns, sideways, 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 starts moving. You got to get on it when it's breaking out, just like it did with Rivian, just like it did with all the other ones. So I'll put up these on the community page on the YouTube channel.